UFC is full of untrustworthy fighters. These are fighters that in theory are very good, but you cannot trust them to fight to their game plan. Some fighters have heavy power but no cardio, some fighters have great wrestling but don't shoot takedowns, and other fighters simply have low fight IQ. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my top 15 most untrustworthy UFC fighters. Let's get into it. Cracking out at number 15, we have none other than Patchy Mix. He is untrustworthy. This guy is a jiu-jitsu merchant that doesn't shoot takedowns. And when he doesn't shoot takedowns, he loses the striking exchanges. He's only 0-1 in the UFC, and like I said, he's a takedown artist, but he only shot for one takedown against Mario Batista, and that happened in the third round. Now, there is room for Patchy Mix to improve. He's only had one UFC fight, but considering in Bellator he did the same exact thing, I think he's just untrustworthy. Number 14, we got our friend Kennedey Nzechukwu, the guy that I actually faded and picked Walter Walker against only 2 weeks ago. He has big power, but he often crumbles against pressure. He's 8-6 in the UFC, and he's been subbed by Paul Craig when he was a big favorite. He got KO'd by Da Woon Jung. Da Woon Jung isn't KOing anybody at the UFC level, and he was a big favorite there as well. He got KO'd by Dustin Jacoby in the first round. He lost a decision to Ovince St. Preux as a minus 350 favorite. He lost to Nikolai Negumereanu, who I don't think has won in the UFC since that fight, and he just got heel hooked by Walter Walker. So in theory, Kennedy is a great fighter. He has great power, but he often doesn't throw enough volume. He often comes in as a big favorite, and for those reasons, you just can't trust the guy. Number 13, I combined two fighters into this because they exhibit the same qualities in my opinion. We're talking about Khaos Williams and Giga Chikadze. These are two insanely one-dimensional strikers, and sometimes their striking is not that good compared to their opponents. So if they're getting outstruck, they have no business being in the octagon. So in theory, they should be KOing every opponent that they get, but their takedown defenses, both of them, are very mid, very poor. Khaos Williams lost to Andreas Gustafsson as a favorite. He got subbed by Gabriel Bonfim. He lost to Randy Brown as a favorite, and he lost to Michel Pereira also as a favorite. Giga Chikadze lost to David Onama, lost to Arnold Allen, lost to Calvin Kattar, and he got submitted by Austin Springer on the Contender Series as a huge favorite. These guys, you cannot trust, number one, as a favorite, and number two, you can't trust them against any guy that has any semblance of takedowns. Number 12, we're going to be discussing someone that fought on last weekend's card. We're talking about Roman Kopylov, the guy that just lost a clean decision to Paulo Costa in the year 2025. He has very low volume striking, he has bad cardio, and he has bad grappling. Reasons why people love Roman Kopylov is because he's a great striker, a very powerful striker, very powerful kicks, but oftentimes when he's getting a jump in competition, he falters. He does not have the powerful kicks. He's 6-4 in the UFC, and almost all of the losses are in jumps up in competition. He got submitted by Fluffy Hernandez. He lost to Paulo Costa in 2025. Like I said, he lost to Albert Duraev, and I don't even think he's signed to the UFC anymore. And he got subbed by Carl Roberson, who I also don't think is signed to the UFC anymore. So once again, this is a one-dimensional, high-power striker that when he faces a higher level of comp, he falters, and therefore he is untrustworthy. Number 11, we're talking about my guy, Javid Basharat. Yes, sir. He's a low-volume striker, but his grappling just simply does not translate to the highest level. What has gotten him to the UFC is really his grappling, but when he's put up against high-level grapplers, his striking is not the best, and he often comes in as a minus 500 favorite in nearly every fight he's had, and he's 3-2-1 in those fights. So if you bet Javid Basharat in every UFC fight he's had, you would be down mega piles because he's always a big favorite. He got KO'd by Ricky Simon as like a minus 400 favorite. He lost to Amin Zahabi as a minus 600 favorite. Barely got any grappling going in that matchup. And then Victor Henry, he lost the first round and then nutshots him and it ends up in a no contest. That's why he has the 1. And Javid Basharat, you simply can't trust because he's a great grappler, but when he's put up against someone that's really UFC level, the grappling goes out the window, the volume striking goes out the window, and all of a sudden now he's super chinny as well. Number 10, I am once again grouping 2 fighters together because they both exhibit the same qualities. We're talking about Rinya Nakamura and Oumar Sy. What do they have in common? They're both wrestlers that just simply don't shoot takedowns. The whole reason that Nakamura and Oumar are in the UFC is because they are high-level wrestlers and grapplers. They should be only doing that when they enter the octagon, but for some reason, Rinya fought Muin Gafurov and barely shot for a takedown. I believe Muin Gafurov even got a takedown of his own against Rinya Nakamura, and Rinya was about a -700 favorite in that matchup. Oumar Sy against Alonzo Menafield didn't complete 1 takedown and loses a clean decision in a fight where he was also around a -700 favorite. So moving forward, we cannot trust Rinya Nakamura and Oumar Sy to win at all. We need to see them progress in MMA. We need to see them consistently follow the game plan, and that is just something they're not doing. Number 9, I'm talking about someone that got cut from the UFC recently, but I can see them making a comeback since they're getting KOs left and right at Karate Combat. We're talking about Robelis Despaigne. That is correct. This guy is a one-shot KO artist, but he rarely punches, number 1, rarely throws, and number 2, this guy cannot defend a takedown if his life depended on it. If you had a gun pointed to his family, he would still get taken down. That's how bad it is. And he lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta by decision, got controlled for over 12 minutes in a 15-minute fight. And then the cherry on top is he lost to Dewan Austin Lane by decision. All Austin Lane did was shoot takedowns, and Robelis just laid on his back like a complete fish. You cannot trust this guy to win inside of an MMA octagon. Maybe you can trust him to win in the Karate Combat pit, sure. But if takedowns are involved, this guy's not winning. Number 8, we're talking about someone that fought quite recently and someone that I actually bet in their last fight, although they lost, and that's the reason they're on this list. We're talking about Ange Loosa. He's a great first-round winner, but if you look over his UFC resume, he often finds himself quitting when there's big adversity coming towards his way. He has a UFC record of 2-3-1 if you count the Contender Series, and he lost to Mounir Lazzez. Okay, Mounir Lazzez is not signed to the UFC. He quit against Brian Battle. That was a no contest, but he was getting battered, and then there was an eye poke that really wasn't that bad, and he straight up said, I can't fight anymore. And then that was that. He lost to Gabriel Bonfim, and then the most recent one, he got KO'd by Phil Rowe in the 3rd round. He was completely dominating the fight. Then his cardio goes out the window, and he basically just quits in the 3rd round. Ange Loosa, you cannot trust to win inside the UFC, unless maybe they're giving him a bottom-of-the-barrel can, but against any decent-level guy, this guy is not to be trusted. Number 7, we're talking about another fighter that fought semi-recently. We're going with Joanderson Brito. This is a wild fighter. He's great at beating the lower-level guys, but he often fights a little too wild, and he is now prone to being taken down. Most of his UFC losses are a result of him being taken down and controlled. He has a UFC record of 5-3, which in theory is good. He also has a win over Diego Lopez on the Contender Series, which in theory is also good. But when he fights any decent wrestler or grappler, he loses, which is evident by his loss to Bill Algeo, out of all people. He should have went out there and smoked him. He loses a decision. He loses to Pat Sabatini as well. He should have went out there and smoked him, but instead, he gets taken down for 3 rounds. And then William Gomis, he should have went out there and smoked him, but he fought a little too wild, a little not good technically, and that made him lose a decision. So Joanderson Brito, great fighter, very entertaining, but you cannot trust him to win at a high level. Number 6, we're talking about a guy that actually main evented a fight night recently. We're going with Jamahal Hill. He is a one-shot KO artist, but he has zero footwork, and after losing to Khalil Roundtree, he is washed, guys. He is just straight up washed. He has a UFC record of 6-4, and his losses are Jiri, Paul Craig, Alex Pereira, and Khalil Roundtree. Jamahal Hill simply cannot be trusted any longer inside of the UFC. His footwork is way too poor. He has one too many ACL injuries, and he's just never going to be the same Jamahal Hill. So at one point in time, maybe you could have trusted Jamahal Hill, but moving forward against the top level guys, the top 10 of light heavyweight, you cannot trust this guy. Number 5, we have a fan favorite, someone I actually picked in his last fight and lost, someone that I actually parlayed in his last fight and lost. We're talking about Junior Tafa. He's a one-shot KO artist, but he just cannot defend the takedown. It doesn't matter who is trying to take him down. It doesn't matter how low level their grappling or wrestling is. He will get taken down. He has a UFC record of 2-4 with 5 of those fights being at heavyweight. He got submitted by Tugo Tacos. Tugo Tacos, out of all people. Tugo Tacos, the lowest level light heavyweight on the roster, submitted Junior Tafa. He also got submitted by Walter Walker, which was a free read. He got leg kick TKO'd by Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So even when he's not getting taken down, he's faltering in the striking. I think Parker Porter is like his only real good win in the UFC. And that's Parker Porter. I mean, he lost to Muhammad Usman. Muhammad Usman? Really? You landed 15 strikes against Muhammad Usman over 3 rounds? That's not good. And then Sean Sharaf, his other UFC win, it was 1 week's notice for Sean Sharaf. Sean Sharaf has not fought in the UFC since then. He hadn't fought in the UFC prior, and he nearly lost to Sean Sharaf because he got taken down and controlled in the first round. This guy is on the ban list. You cannot trust him to win inside of the UFC. Number 4, this is a sad entry, but I do have to include him. We're talking about Cody Garbrandt. And do I really need to explain why Cody Garbrandt is not trustworthy in the year 2025? He has a UFC record of 9-7. And I'm going to quickly go over his losses and explain one by one why he's not trustworthy. He lost to Raoni Barcelos. Okay, Raoni Barcelos doesn't have the best durability. Cody Garbrandt couldn't hit him if his life depended on it. He got submitted by Davison Figueiredo in the first round, which at this point in Davison's career, he's not taking down and submitting anyone at the high level of bantamweight. He got KO'd by Kai Kara France at the flyweight level, and that just showed me that this guy's chin is completely dust. And he also lost to Rob Font over 5 rounds. Rob Font not really KOing anyone. Cody Garbrandt, you would think in a fight where he's fighting someone without KO power, he would actually do well because Cody Garbrandt's biggest thing is that he has no chin. But against Rob Font, he just went out there and lost the decision. Cody just can't win the UFC. He got KO'd by Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz is not KOing anyone. So Cody Garbrandt, at one point in time, he had great footwork, great striking, great power, but as time has progressed, so has his hairline, so has his chin, therefore, he is untrustworthy. Number 3, we're talking about a guy that's been in the UFC for, I think, over 10 years, and maybe he sniffed the rankings once or twice, but he's never really been a true contender. We're talking about Andre Fili. This guy is untrustworthy to the maximum extent. That is why he's number 3. He's very well-rounded. There's not really a hole in Andre Fili's game. He's a great grappler, he's a great wrestler, and he's a great striker. But he just continuously fights down to his competition. His most recent win, which was against Cub Swanson, who's in his mid-40s, that was a split decision robbery, in my opinion. So he really, at this point, should be cut from the UFC. He should be on a long losing streak. But let's go over why I'm upset with this guy. He's 12-11-1. 12-11-1. Do you know what that means? That means 50% of the time he's losing. Like, that's not good at all. When you had 24 fights in the UFC, he's the most win-loss fighter in the entire roster. He lost, oh boy, let's dive in, huh? He got guillotined by Melky Costa, so if you're getting guillotined, you're just untrustworthy. Got KO'd by Dan Ige, which I guess is not a bad loss. He lost to Nathaniel Wood. He got KO'd by Joanderson Brito, who's also someone that's untrustworthy. He lost to Bryce Mitchell. He lost to Sadiq Youssef. He lost to Michael Johnson at featherweight. Michael Johnson at featherweight? I mean, lost to Calvin Kattar. Yair Rodriguez got submitted by Godofredo Pape, who I don't even know who that is. But he submitted him in the UFC. He got submitted by Max Holloway as well. Max Holloway isn't submitting anyone. Like I said, Andre Fili, great fighter, but he just always fights down to his competition, and whenever he gets a step up in competition, as you can see, most of these names are pretty good, he loses. So he's untrustworthy. Number 2 is someone I have a personal gripe with after last weekend's UFC 318 card. It is Daniel Zellhuber. This guy is a 29-28 merchant. He's either winning 29-28 or he's losing 29-28. He's super well-rounded, great striking, great grappling, but he's just like Andre Fili. He continuously fights down to his competition. He's 3-3 in the UFC. Debatably should be 2-4. And he lost to Michael Johnson as a -600 favorite in the year 2025. Lost a clean decision. Wasn't even close. He lost to Esteban Ribovic. He lost to Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden isn't beating anyone at the top 15 level in 2025. He almost lost to Francisco Prado, and he almost lost to Lando Venata, and he almost lost to Lucas Almeida. I didn't include the Christos Giagos submission because Giagos is simply not UFC level. But if 6 of his 7 fights are near losses, and he's always coming in as a big favorite, you cannot trust this guy whatsoever. Number 1, I don't know if I made it obvious with the thumbnail or the pictures beforehand or just in general, someone that is insanely untrustworthy, currently signed to the UFC. The number 1 guy, in my opinion, is someone that actually fought on UFC 318 with Daniel Zellhuber, who came in as a -600 favorite. We're talking about 4570 Kevin Holland, okay? Do I need to explain why Kevin Holland is untrustworthy in 2025? I don't think I do. He has a UFC record of 15-11-1. Now, keep in mind, those 11 losses, most of the time he's coming in as the favorite. And those 15 wins, he's always a -500 favorite as well. Kevin Holland, at welterweight, you would think he's like evolved, he's good. But losing to Daniel Rodriguez is just unforgivable. And the middleweight Kevin Holland wasn't even trying. Let's go over his losses. Daniel Rodriguez, like I said, got submitted by Rainer de Ritter, which is aging well. If he goes out there and beats Whitaker, maybe that's a pretty good win. Lost to Roman Dolidze by a rib injury, by a rib TKO. He just gave up. His rib split and he gave up. He lost to MVP in a fight where he just had to take him down and he would have won, and he lost. He loses to JDM in a sparring match. He lost to Wonder Boy, didn't even try to grapple Wonder Boy, and that's Wonder Boy's biggest weakness, and Kevin Holland ignored it. He got submitted by Hamzat in a minute. He lost to Marvin Vettori just by getting taken down relentlessly. He lost to Derek Brunson by getting taken down relentlessly. Same story with Brendan Allen. Same story with Thiago Santos. You are looking at the most untrustworthy UFC fighter currently signed to the UFC. Kevin the Trailblazer Holland. Please do not ever pick or bet this man ever again.